Welcome back. Sorry about me chewing. I was just having a snack as I'm filming today. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for subscribing. And if you've not subscribed, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Let's get to this. I'm quite. How would I put this? I am going to enjoy talking about this book, because today's Boxing Day, the 26th of December. For those who don't live in the UK or in the Commonwealth there are a few countries which are attached to the UK that were once owned by the UK through slavery and stuff like that. So we're looking at countries like Jamaica, Barbados, who's leaving, Trinidad, I think, some African countries like Nigeria. So that's the Commonwealth. So those people will have Boxing Day. I think maybe not all of them, but most of them will have Boxing Day. And Boxing Day is not celebrated in the US. So for all the people in the US who are watching who are not sure what Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. And it's the day after Christmas, and it's called boxing, not boxing, boxing like a box. So it's called Boxing Day because that was a day that the slaves and the helpers and the servants had off, and the rich landowners, or the rich people in general, will box up things for them. So they'll put things in boxes, and I think maybe that's where we get boxing things up for Christmas, wrapping gifts and stuff. So they'll put things in boxes, food, any gifts they want to give them, and they'll put them in boxes on that day and give it to their servants, their helpers, their slaves, right? And so that's where the word Boxing Day comes from. Now, I thought it was fitting to talk about this book because I got this book as a gift, and Boxing Day is the day for gifts. So I thought it was fitting. I actually got it as a gift from Waterstones. Hi Waterstones, please follow me. So I got it from Waterstones, which is a bookshop in the UK, and I got it for free. So I thought, let me talk about this book because it's Boxing Day and it's a day for gifts. And it's this book. I'm sure many of you have read this book before, The Boy at the Door. And it's said to be a psychological thriller. And it's based across a few Scandinavian countries, not just one country. So the characters move across several countries in Scandinavia. And it was published in 2018, I think. Yeah, 2018. I read it this year. I received it from Waterstones, I think January this year. I received it from Waterstones as a gift. For loyalty, you know, when you're loyal to a store, they give you something, and they gave me this book, and I read it earlier this year. Now, it took me some time to get into the book, and then I got into it, and it was okay. So the book is surrounding the main character, which is Cecilia, and her family, but really it's about Cecilia and a boy called Tobias. So it's really about the relationship between Cecilia and Tobias. And so Tobias was introduced, so we got a background in Cecilia and her family. Tobias was introduced into the plot when Cecilia was asked to drop him at home when he was left at the swimming pool, like literally abandoned at the swimming pool, and she was asked to keep him, but just that act of being asked to look after this boy, to take this boy home, to drop him off at his house because his parents didn't come to pick him up, that kicked off like a world of lies, deceit, misery, just so much, you know, just that act alone. You have to read the book. I'm not going to do any spoilers here, so you have to read the book. But the act of just being asked to drop him off has just kicked off a whole lot of lies and deceit, and just how life can be miserable at times, or one's existence is not what it seems. The book also delved into things like child abuse, drug abuse, So if those things trigger you, it might not be the book for you. The thing that I liked about this book is a thing that a lot of people say they don't like, is that the women in the book seem so plastic and fake. I can tell you that in my job, I meet a lot of plastic and fake women who are exactly like Cecilia and her friends. And so where a lot of people say they find it hard to believe that these people could be real, I'm telling you that these people are real. They literally they just live in, and very selfish, basically. Let's put it that way. They're very, very selfish. So I do believe that there's people like that in the world, and I've met a few of them, and I've worked with a few of them. But it just talks about, how life isn't what it seems. You meet somebody in the playground when you go to pick your child up from school. You meet your neighbors in the hallway if you live in a block of flats, and you say good morning, good evening, and, they seem normal. Or if you live in a house, you say hello to your neighbor and they seem normal. But when they go inside their house, total different thing. And the book covers bad parenting, bad parents, just things that you wish never existed in the world, but actually does exist. So in a lot of the book really delves into how people can be fake and people can abuse children, and the outside world don't realize, and everything looks normal and everything is going on normal. So yeah, in that regard, it's pretty tense, and it's really a thriller. Now, to sum up the book, I'd say pay attention to Cecilia. She's devious. She's not likable. And she's not likable, but I understand her, but she's just not likable at all. But I do understand her and understand where she's coming from. And as I say, I think she's so believable. A lot of people say she isn't, but I think she's so believable. What I don't like is the husband. This is believable as well. The husband is so detached, so perfect, so perfect in that he just allows his wife to get away with everything. He's probably like most husbands. He's probably busy with his work and his life, and his wife and his children are just something that makes his life seem like it's perfect when it's really not perfect. But the husband is probably like a lot of husbands who just allow their wives to do whatever they want to do as long as they don't bother them. If that makes sense. So and it also talks about Cecilia's father and the relationship between her and her dad, or the lack thereof. I think that could have been explored a little bit more. I think he came in too late in the book. I think it would have been good to introduce her mom and dad a little bit earlier. And the relationship with her mom is quite shallow as well. So I think there could be a little bit more substance to that bit of the story. There is a character called Anika. I absolutely love the bits with her diary. I think that is what that carries the book along. For me, that carries the book along. It gives an insight in her life, her background, how she turned out to be the way she was. And I think that was well written. That's the best part of the book for me. That was very, very well written. Okay, quotes. Oh, I must say, social services was involved in the case, because of course we're talking about a child, and social services was involved. I swear, if social services was so blasé in the UK, somebody would go to prison. I can't imagine social services being so blasé about anything. I really hope they're not. I mean, I don't work in social services, so I don't know, but I really hope they're not. But I didn't like the way social services handled the situation, but it was quite like they totally disregard the safety of a child. So that's something to look out for as well. Quotes that I feel summarize the book, I would say, let's say, I think chapter 13, page 169, summarizes just the emotions that the book evokes for me all throughout. It says, I'm desperate now. That much is pretty obvious. It's like everything I've created, everything I considered solid and sustainable, has actually been constructed upon air bubbles that may pop at any time, one after the other. And this is Cecilia talking, and I feel like this is how I think about her. Like, all the things that she's doing and running around doing all these things is just so superficial. As it says here, constructed up in air bubbles. And there's a lot of people like that their whole entire life is just constructed on air bubbles. And to be honest, one prick and it all falls apart, and then they crash to the floor. So I think that is very, very realistic. So I enjoyed that. And I think it suggests like pure desperation from the main character, and she tends to go through this through all the book. Like, the whole book is her going through this superficial life, you know? So that I think was very, very fitting. But to wrap things up and conclude my feelings on the book, I feel the book was quite sad, and I feel like it is indicative of a lot of people. I think I worked in general practice, I think in some parts of the world, it's a physician's office, and you see things like this every day, you know, so it's believable to me. Where a lot of people say it's not believable, to me it's really, really believable, because I see this every day, or used to see this every day, you know, from the catty friends, the remote husband, the children who are completely ignored, like really just ignored, to Cecilia trying to keep up with the Joneses, or she and her family trying to keep up with the Joneses, a lack of relationship with her parents, just going through life relying on prescription drugs or illegal drugs, just to keep them going. You know, that's a lot of people, and I find the book totally believable. So all the people who say they find the book unbelievable, I think they're naive, because this is this is people, everyday people that go in their house, lock their doors, and you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. So I find it totally believable. Any books that I think is similar, I would go for The Ice Twins, which is a book I'm going to review. It's not similar. So The Ice Twins is not similar in the plot. It's similar in the mom that just doesn't have it together, you know, like the main character that is just absolutely falling apart and just not caring about their family, only thinking about themselves. So in that way, when I was reading it, it put me in the mind of The Ice Twins. How much would I give it out of 10? I don't like marking. I don't like giving 5 stars, because I think it doesn't give you enough leeway to showcase how you really feel about the book. So I always give it a mark out of 10. 10. Okay. I would go for 5.5. There's a few errors. So I think the book was translated into English, I think. I might do a piece on the author, actually. There's a few type errors, which I find quite odd. Don't you find that odd when you see a book with type errors? So there's a few type errors. Also, it was quite difficult to read. As I said, the bit that picked me up was Anika's diary. That got me going, got me interested in the book when I was waning. My interest was waning. When it got to Anika's diary, that kind of picked me up. That was quite interesting to me. Actually, I gave it 5. Let's say 6. And the reason why I'm going to say 6 is because I would definitely read this book again. I would read this book again because I felt like I miss bits, because some part of it was just so boring. Sorry, author, so boring. What's your name again? Alex Dahl. I think she lives in London. some parts of it was so boring that, and so tedious to read, but then other bits was just carrying the whole book. So I'm gonna say, let's not say 6, let's say 5.5. 5.5, because I'd read it again just to see if I've missed anything. And I enjoyed the story. I just felt like it could have been told in a better way. So that's my review for The Boy at the Door. Yeah. Tell me what you think about it. Have you read this book? If you have, let me know what you think below. If you haven't read it, I think you should read it. I think you should. But don't expect too much, if that makes sense. But you should read. It's not a must read, but it's a book that you can read. And maybe on holiday, when you are totally focused, have nothing to do, you just lying on the beach, this might be a book to read on the beach, because then you're totally focused on that and you've got nothing else to do, right? So thank you for watching my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment. It's so important to leave a comment so I know what you think about my reviews. And let's talk. If you've read The Boy at the Door, let's talk about it. Thanks so much. Like, share, and subscribe.